If you want to hear my thoughts on the Fenty mini brand new focus, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and thank you so much for joining me for this quick video on my impressions of the 4 products from Fenty that I tried in this mini brand new focus. Now I called it mini because I think 4 products, technically 10 products, is not a huge amount to review and give you a sense of the brand. What I really wanted to do was to get a little bit of a taste of the type of quality for the products that are in this line, as well as the value for money that you get when you purchase Fenty products. Now, out of all of these, the only product that I purchased with money was this Fenty Kilowatt palette. Fenty Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighting Palette. It's quite the mouthful. So this is the only one that I purchased, and I did purchase it at a significant discount, which is what it is right now. It is significantly discounted, at least at Sephora. But I will leave this one actually for last. Let's talk about the other products that played a supporting role in the looks that I was able to create. I used 4 products total, as I mentioned, 10 if you count every single highlighter in that palette that we're going to go through. This is the base product that I used, and it is the Fenty Pro Filt'r, and it usually has long names. This was 4 ml or 0.13 fluid ounces, and it lasted weeks. Instant Retouch Primer is what it's called. And like I said, it lasted at least 2 weeks worth of applications. I was pretty impressed with it. When I started using it, I used it the whole way through. Now I don't have it on today, but I think you can figure out why. It's pretty darned empty. I even went in with a spatula to try to get as much as I could out. I obviously liked it. Now, I am not a primer connoisseur. I tend to go for inexpensive primers that do what it is that I need to have done, which is to, in some cases, mattify, in some cases, hydrate, just depending on what the skin is needing. And this one I just found was a nice hydrator with a slight smoothing aspect to it. That's what it did for me, and I think that what it can do for you really depends on your skin. I tend to be dry on the periphery and oily in my T-zone, if that helps. I also liked the slight tint that was in this. It's kind of like a creamy, slightly pinky peach, and I did find it had a slight tone evening effect, which I didn't mind. And if the large size is, if this is an indication of the large size, I think that the pump was quite nice. Now, this other product I actually quite like, but I only used, I think, 3 times. And when I did use it, I used it for an extended period of time. The challenge I had with this Mademoiselle Flamingo Acid, I guess, lipstick, is the color was a little bit challenging to wear unless I was wearing a neutral eye look. And if you tend to know my style, unless I need a neutral eye for my day and then I want to amp things up in the evening and don't really want to mess with my eye makeup by adding a deeper shadow. In this case today, I think you would agree that I have quite a bold statement eye. Mid-range for me, but for a lot of people this might be quite bold and would be an evening look. I would not have paired this lipstick with that eye. I just think it's too much. So I went with the Becca Topaz and Gilt lip gloss. It's like a topper, but I wear it on its own, and I feel like this balances the look out quite nicely. But let's go back to this lipstick. I think it's beautiful. It is very matte, but it has a ton of pigmentation. and it stays creamy. It's not one of those lipsticks that dries down and becomes uncomfortable. I was very impressed with how much it lasted on my lips and the fact that it stayed quite comfortable. The only thing I'm going to say about this kind of a lipstick though is if you have damage on the outside of your lips like I do. I had terrible time with the edges of my lips when I was a kid, and now I have a lot of scarring. It will bleed on the edges of your lip, and if that's not something that you like and you don't have a lip primer or a good lip pencil that you trust for that area, I would not suggest that this is necessarily a good lip for that area. But apart from that, it's a really good lip product. So I tended to try to keep it a little bit in and then complement with a lip pencil, and it worked pretty well. I definitely give that lip product high marks. Now, out of the 3 products that are not the palette, this one impressed me the most. And the funny thing is, I did not have it in my intro because I forgot that I had it as a deluxe sample. And it is the Fly Liner Longwear Liquid Liner. And it's in the color Cause I'm Black. I think it's funny. And it is a truly, here's the tip, by the way. It is a truly deep black liner. And it is extremely precise. And it looks like it's a felt. Yeah, it's a felt liner, but here's a little extra. If you press just a tiny bit on it, it will dispense a very, very black line, and I think that's fantastic. The first time I used it, and I've been using the Pretty Easy liquid liner from Clinique, which I really don't like, I was bracing myself for, okay, trying yet another liner, and this one blew me away. Fly Liner blew me away. Okay. I really like it. I really, really like it. If I run out of my Stila and this one is on some sort of an offer, I will not blink. I will get this one. For me, whenever I do need a liner, I am very opportunistic and I will have my list. It's a short list of liners that I like, and this one has definitely made it on the short list. Something else that is very interesting about this liner, it has 2 additional attributes that I really like. Number 1, do you see it's kind of triangular shape? If you tend to fumble with liners, this one, that will not happen because you have more control over it. It's less likely to jump out of your hand. The second thing, other than the other attributes I mentioned earlier, you'll also notice that it has the indentation all around. The end is smaller than the front, and you don't have to worry about losing your cap. Just those 2 things make this liner, in my opinion, a winner. Like I said, it would be competing with other liners price-wise, but if it is a tie or better, I will definitely get this one. And if you need a runner-up, Stila Stay All Day would win after the Fenty Fly Liner. And as a matter of fact, I'm wearing it on my eyes today. If you're curious, I decided, because I'm doing some work with some clients this afternoon, I did not do a wing. I thought that would be overly dramatic. My inner to 2/3 of the lid is already dramatic enough. So I did not do one, but if you look at the video where I am wearing Chills and Scandalize, and of course I'll have the picture right here, you can see me sporting a wing, and it was done with that fly liner if you want to see a wing in action. Now, I am rusty with wings because for the 40 days I was using the Clinique Pretty Easy. It's not Pretty Easy. I could not do a wing because it was so liquidy, it feathered all over the place, and it was unusable. And I've never had such a dramatic problem with a liquid liner before this Clinique liner. So I did not do a wing, like I said, for over a month and a half. And so I got to the fly liner and I thought, how do I do these again? Anyway, all right. So let's talk now about the Fenty Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighting Palette. First off, I did not think I would like the shape, and I kept the box, but because it's octagonal, I think that's octagonal, yes it is, I was able to put it in my holders back there, and it doesn't roll around like the Urban Decay Elements palette, which I keep in the box because I hate the fact that it rolls around. This one stays put, so I don't mind the packaging. And at first I thought, you know, the packaging is pretty bulky, but it's actually not that bad. Just to give you an idea of the size, this is the Urban Decay Ultimate Basics. And so it's about, what is it? Maybe a couple of centimeters, 2/3 of an inch wider, and about 3 centimeters or just over an inch taller. So it's not as big. Here, I'll do it this way so you can see where it sticks out. It's actually not that big. And there are a lot of face palettes with the same or fewer products that I would argue are just as big. So that I've kind of changed my mind about just seeing it proportionate to other face palettes. Now let's talk about what is inside. I used all of these as eyeshadow, and I used some of them as blushes and highlighters. So I used these two, Honey Slope and Heartburn, as blushes and blush toppers. I used, as far as highlighter, I used these two, which is Sub-Zero and Scandalice. And I did also use this one as highlighter, but I did find it a little bit too glitter for me. Glittery for me, so I don't think I would do that again. I would probably pair it with, depending on the rest of my eye look, with one of these two, Scandalice or Sub-Zero. And then this one was the one I wore in look number 3. And I got a lot of compliments on that look. I will have it right here. And I don't blame anyone for deciding that that was a pretty decent look. And this one used a lot of the shadows. It used half the shadows in this palette. I used all 3 of these for my face, so blush, highlight, and also for the eye, all 3 of these. And I think the look turned out beautifully. And so I would say that these 3 down here, though they look relatively deep, depending on the intensity with which you apply the product, it would work for relatively fair skin. I am usually a light pulling to the yellow at the very light end of the spectrum, except of course if I bronze, which I did today. And I was able to use these. If you watch the video where I created that look, you will see me having applied too much Heartburn and then kind of going, whoa, that's intense. I used my powder brush, got a little bit off, and it looked fine afterwards. So very workable. And if you do overdo it, I wouldn't say for the highlighters, but for like the really glittery highlighters, but for these two, you can definitely easily adjust the color without having glitter and sparkle all over. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, for the colors I am most likely to wear again, I would say it is these two and these two, because I think that these two can work very, very well as face products and eyeshadows too. And then these two as inner to 2/3 of the lid highlighters. And that will give some micro glitter look to your eye. I think that this one, which is the one that I'm wearing today, packs quite a bit of punch, but I would be limited in the types of events and situations where I would feel comfortable having something so blingy on the eye. Now, if I want to go out and I want to amp up an office look, yes, this one would be fine, and it's a neutral color, so it would be pretty appropriate for just about anything I might wear. But I think I would be more likely to go for one of these two, the blue and then the kind of lilac-y purple. Yeah, it's kind of, it has sort of well, I did swatches. It has sort of a pinky blue to it. And then this one, the, what's it called again? Sub-Zero, has more of a blue shift to it. And those are softer, in my opinion, than this one. But this one is definitely more chunky glitter and more glam if I'm going to a black tie or a romantic dinner. I might do this look instead. Now for the Fenty Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighting Palette, the original price was $67 Canadian. Now you may have heard me say a number of times that this product actually went on kind of a clearance price, and it is now $28.50. That makes each one of these highlighters now $4 a piece for 3 grams of pretty punchy highlighters and highlighter blush hybrid type products. I think the pricing was fair at regular price, though I have to admit I would not have picked it up at regular price. It felt like too big of a risk for a brand I hadn't tried. But at $4 a piece, if these were individual units, I would have trouble believing that there would not have been a lot of interest in picking up at least some of these. They are very big pans, and 3 grams per pan, almost 2.8, yeah, 2.8 grams per pan, and it's also 0.1 ounce, if you're curious, 0.1 ounce each. I think that if you find those colors attractive, that it's a pretty good trade for your dollar. If you have access to it, I would say that the Fenty Kilowatt Freestyle Highlighting Palette, I still think it's a mouthful, would be a very decent product to have if you don't have anything similar or a straight duplicate in your collection. I am really happy that I did this mini brand new focus. I am happy to have tried these products. I am now kind of curious about other Fenty products like the, what's it called? The Gloss Bomb, those glosses from the brand. I'm really excited to try those at some point. I almost bought the Christmas set last year, and I kind of have been kicking myself ever since because I missed them being on sale, and I'm sure that I would have enjoyed them. I have too many glosses. I need to be good. But those are definitely on my radar for when I have a more reasonable number of glosses left. I would endorse the brand. I just would. I know it's only 4 products. Well, technically, like I said, 10 if you count each one of the highlighters individually. But yeah, that's how I feel. And I really did not know what I would think in this mini brand new focus. And I am delighted. I'm delighted that I have these products in my collection. Well, maybe not the primer because I'm finished with that. But yeah, I'm very happy that I have those products, and I'm looking forward to continue to use them. And out of all of them, I would say the Fly Liner is the best one out of the bunch, and probably just because it was a discovery in my collection. I forgot I had it because it was in my backups for liners, and the name is not super easy to see just because of the packaging. And I just completely overlooked it as I looked through my collection to see what I had from Fenty. And so it was a delightful surprise, not only for finding something else I could try from the brand, but just the performance of it was so good. So that's it. Those are my thoughts for the Fenty Beauty mini brand new focus. I hope you enjoyed the review and the looks that I've had scrolling throughout the video. And with that, I will say over to you. Let me know what you thought of the looks, what you think of the palette. Have you thought about getting it? Do you have it? What do you think? I look forward to hearing your comments. And I also look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.